Hello, and welcome to On Good Faith, a program sponsored by the Cape Cod Council of Churches. I am Jonathan Onquist, a pastor ordained in the Lutheran Catholic tradition and a member of the Cape Cod Council of Churches, and proud to be that. It has been my pleasure for several years to serve as host for On Good Faith. Our program, its intention is to present to you, persons of Cape Cod who can hear this television offering, to present to you persons, activities, events, things that take place on the Cape and that touch life here on the Cape. Before we introduce our guests, I'd like to read a little quote from a prayer by Robert Raines. He was writing about the struggle of separation. He says, "We struggle in separation with silent longing and alone. Lord, help us to reach out to each other and then say, I love you. I love you." A love story from the Gospel of John. After breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than all else?" "Yes, Lord," he answered. "You know that I love you." "Then feed my lambs," Jesus said. A second time he asked, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." "Then tend my sheep." A third time he said, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt that Jesus asked him a third time, "Do you love me?" "Lord," he said, "you know everything. You know that I love you." And Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." The answer to "Do you love me" from Jesus is not merely words, it is action. Today's guests work in the midst of action in response to the Lord's call. In response to that call, Robin Hayward is the director of the Baby Center, and Sue Latimer is a volunteer at the Baby Center. The center is a charitable program of the Cape Cod Council of Churches. The council's office here for the Baby Center is located at 81 Willow Avenue in the back of the Federated Church in Hyannis on Main Street. A Baby Center is an active service. It is in active service meeting real needs. So Robin, as director, and Susan as one of the volunteers, tell us more.
Well, A Baby Center is a program that provides necessary diapers and wipes to families in great need. And great need could be in crisis, or a family that recently had acquired some foster children, or adoptive families, or families that meet the criteria of WIC, which is Women and Infants and Children. And anyone that comes under that guideline or receives financial aid may qualify for our services at a Baby Center.
How do people know, how does a family know about the opportunity they have with a Baby Center?
Well, I think that all of the different programs in our local area work very well together. We refer people back and forth from the different organizations. WIC will, and other food stamp services organizations, SNAP program, will give people a list of providers for different services, and we're definitely a part of that list. And we do the same for them.
And how many people are working at a Baby Center?
Well, currently we have 2 employees. There's myself and the assistant program manager.
Okay.
And the best part of a Baby Center is that we have right now 51 volunteers. 51
volunteers.
Yes. And Sue happens to be one of our volunteers.
As a volunteer, Sue, how did you become part of a Baby Center?
Well, a co-worker of mine works for the Baby Center, and she was asking if I could sub for her on a Monday night for intake, and that's about 9 years ago. So I was still teaching, And I said, sure, I would love to, because I had heard about it. And so I did some Monday night intake, subbing for her. And then when I retired 7 years ago, I am a volunteer every week on Tuesdays.
With more things, what is intake?
Oh, intake is when the clients come into the baby center and they sign in, and then an intake person, they sit
They
down.
gather, you know,
Yep.
some minimal information from the client, and they meet and greet them, and they start to build a foundation of a relationship with that family, so that the family can get used to the faces that they see, and we're eager to see them and see how they're doing, and just encourage the family, and it builds, you know, a foundation.
Well, the volunteers are really a core part of that welcoming feeling, I would imagine.
Yes.
And the volunteers are from where? All over the Cape, or churches, or synagogues, or?
Quite a few different towns.
Yep.
Yes. I would say from Mashpee all the way to South Dennis, at
Yes.
Harwich.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they come and they do things. What does a volunteer do? One of the things is the intake
The
interview, I
intake,
guess.
which I don't do much of anymore since I retired. I am there on Tuesdays from noon to 2, and finishing up with a little bit about the intake. After the information is taken, they've signed in and they've spoken with the intake person, they're given a bag with diapers and wipes, and their name is put on it, and they come into the baby boutique, which we call it, from infant up to 4 and 5T.
4 and 5T.
Toddlers.
Okay.
Yep. And they come in, the intake person brings them in, and then now my biggest role now is a volunteer at the counter. We greet them. The intake person brings them in, we greet them, we find out the age of the children, we meet the children, and then they are shown around the boutique.
They shop just
They
as if
shop.
they're in a
Regular
little store.
store.
Right.
Yeah, they have that
Right.
flexibility, and that really is uplifting to a family. If you can't get out to shop for your
Yeah.
child, you can wander around and choose things your own style, or what your child likes, and it feels very homey and comfortable there.
It is.
Is there what can they take? Is there a limit to, I mean, if somebody comes in there for the first time after going through the intake, and now they go and see all that is there,
Right.
what do they do?
If a pregnant mommy comes in, and she's coming for the first time, she usually comes in at her 7th or 8th month. And when she arrives, we call it a layette visit. And a layette visit is really the things that you would bring to the hospital with you when you were about to have your baby. So we provide them with a package of newborn diapers and a package of wipes, and also a few newborn items like a pajama set, a blanket, and just a few little things to make going to the hospital special. And then we don't see them again until after baby's born, which is a time to rejoice for us in intake and outtake, because we get to see this precious baby. And at that point, until the child is 6 months old, they can go ahead and take 4 pajamas and 4 outfits along with their diapers and wipes.
Every visit,
Every visit once a month
once a month.
for 6 months. And then the only thing that changes is at 6 months they take 1 pajama and 4 outfits. But there's a lot more that we offer there at a baby center as well.
Such as, tell me more.
Well, sometimes we have great donations of food products for them, healthy food items. We may have baby lotion, baby ointment. We may have shoes or boots or Halloween costumes or Christmas outfits or Easter outfits or bouncy seats, strollers,
Equipment.
And toys and books. And these are all generously donated by the community.
So it's a very celebration for the woman or for the family when they come in. You made it sound like the woman, the mother, coming in with her child or with her children. Can they come in without their child or their children?
Yes, absolutely.
And then do you keep track of who visits?
That's
do.
part of the intake.
Yes, that is part of the intake process. So when they come in, Sue mentioned that they do sign in. And then we take their file and we look at their file and we look back at how they were doing the last visit, the date they last visit, and we'll make sure that it's in the month range. But say, for instance, they called and said, I'm just not going to make it till the end of the month, and they're about a week early, we're definitely not going to turn them away.
Mainly for diapers, correct?
Right, mainly for diapers, yeah.
Tell me those numbers of, you told me
Diapers.
some numbers about diapers, and I thought, really?
Well, I can tell you some numbers of babies usually are changed about 7 times a day. Healthy baby, about 7 times a day. That's not including maybe if baby has an upset tummy. But a family in crisis, a family in financial need may have to only change baby twice. And that leaves baby very unhappy, an unhealthy bottom, and an uncomfortable situation for the family. But because WIC and SNAP don't leave financial means to purchase diapers and wipes, they're left with that type of a situation.
Now, WIC is Women, Infants, and Children.
Yes.
And what do they provide? They will not
They
provide
provide
diapers.
nutrition.
Nutrition.
Yeah, nutrition. So, things like diapers and wipes aren't covered, toothpaste is not covered, deodorants aren't covered, those kind of things. And diapers and wipes kind of fell in the crack as well.
Huh. The center's been in existence how long now?
15 years.
How did it start?
It started because a group of the faithful, and so they were assorted church organizations,
Through
I
the Council
believe.
of Churches.
It went then to the Council of Churches. They found a need for the service within the community, and they expected to serve approximately 500 people
A day?
a year.
A year.
And it ended up being 500 per month.
They were expecting to serve 500 people a year,
Yes.
and from the beginning, it started out with 500 a month.
Right. So there was a great need.
How'd they get past that first month?
I would not know.
Boy, I
The
mean,
community, hopefully.
but that was a awesome number. And when you've told me before that like some agencies don't provide diapers and wipes,
No,
and is that
Right.
the main thing that the A Baby Center provide? They provide
That was the
much.
foundation,
The foundation
of a
was
baby
diapers
center,
and
diapers
wipes.
and wipes.
But I
And
mean, a baby needs a lot of diapers.
yes, a
Yes.
baby
What's
does.
one
They're
package?
pricey.
Yeah.
Yes. A package of diapers probably costs about $20.
And how many diapers?
A baby probably there's in a small package, about 27 diapers. And a baby needs about 2 or so packages a week and a package of wipes a week to make it through a healthy week.
So they need more.
Right. Sure.
And do many call upon the A Baby Center to say, I'm in need for more? And how does the center respond to such requests?
Well, we're, as we said in the beginning, we're a charitable organization, and we always err on the side of assisting a family. Someone at our door is not going to be sent away. We're going to assist the family because the need is for the baby.
Yeah. Well, the Baby Center started then from that group,
Right.
and that's how many years ago?
15.
15 years ago. And has it increased in the numbers of persons it has
Served.
assisted over the
Yes,
years?
it does. It does fluctuate. Right now it's anywhere between 500 and 600 a month. For instance, yesterday alone we saw 41 people. But it fluctuates throughout the month. The beginning of the month, it might be extremely busy. The last week of the month might be extremely busy. Maybe it'll slow down in the middle. Seasons changing, that affects it as well.
As a volunteer, do you, Sue, how do you help sustain a good feeling with everybody serving there? I mean, there must be you get tired.
Well, it's very exciting working there. It's joyful, you know what you're doing, and when they come into the baby boutique and the volunteers with myself, if they need help, we walk around with them, especially new moms. We direct them to, newborns and preemies, and we'll show them the whole boutique, and then they shop. And we are over at the counter, and when they're ready, they check out, and we fold up their clothing and bag it for them, but we're always interacting.
Good.
Yes.
Always
That's one of the
interacting.
best parts.
That's what.
We're speaking to the mom. We're talking. Oh, how old is she?
They're
How
always
old is
making
he?
of the child, the
Oh,
children.
yes. And today we had several come in with full heads of hair, and they were little
yes.
infants, and they're
so cute.
smiling. And you can just feel the joy from them. They are so happy to be there. They are so appreciative. They thank us all the time. And
they leave with a smile.
oh,
and they feel comforted.
They do. And if a mom comes in and she's got two, I may say, I'll hold,
I'll
little,
hold one
I'll,
if
I'll
you
hold
want.
little Abigail. Oh, always we ask. We always ask. And then they can freely shop. And I may even walk around with the baby or the child so they don't lose
They can
sight of
see
their
mom.
But it's a fantastic job. I don't even call it a job. I love to go and be there. And Robin, she's our new director. She's stepped right in, and we feel her love for this job right away.
Beautiful.
And she's right in there. Today she was in there folding items and checking racks. And it's all set up, all labeled everywhere. And today one of the little girls with her mom, we could hear her. We were on the other side. Oh, Mom, look how great this is. Can I have that?
She was helping her mom shop for
Yep.
the items. Very sweet.
And then there's books and toys, and one family went off today with a couple toy items and a carrier and a life preserver. We were putting out swimsuits today, and they leave happy.
That sounds so exciting and so positive, just the feeling and
It
the
is
relationships
very
there.
positive.
But now there's got to be money.
It's very important.
There's got to be money. And no matter how wonderful our spirit is and the relationships that we have and the holding the little babies and affirming the moms, where's the money coming from?
Most of our money comes from donations. We survive completely on donations. We are a nonprofit, and the donations come from private organizations, private citizens, families, churches. Churches and other organizations have diaper drives for us, or they plan mock baby showers for us. Surprise, it's a baby girl and a boy. And we have fundraisers, and this month was the launch of our Mother's Day Appeal, and citizens can donate in honor of their mother or a special child or a mother figure that was special to them in their life. And they can do that easily online at our website. They can also, we have a very big fundraiser coming up in August, and it's called Generations of Hope, and that will be August 13th. And if they're looking for more information, because it's developing right now, it'll be in Barnstable Village. They can go on to the Council of Churches website or a baby center's website for more information coming up.
And that comes up in August.
Yes.
And now, when people contribute, it's a donation to a nonprofit.
Right, and it's tax deductible.
It's tax deductible.
Yes.
And are your donations always enough?
Well, there's never enough because there's always a new baby.
Yeah.
So there are always more babies coming.
Yeah.
We have been very lucky this month because some families choose to not send a check, which we do love the cash because that helps us to go buy our diapers every week. I may spend anywhere from $850 to $1,500 a week on diapers and wipes, depending on what we need. But some families go ahead and order us diapers through Amazon.com, and we get surprise packages show up at our door, which is very exciting.
I have a friend who she donates every month. Tries
That's
to drop
great.
off boxes of diapers and wipes.
So there is a good feeling in the community about a
yes.
baby center and the
Yes.
positive effect
Wonderful.
it has on young families. And that's sustained by the volunteers and the relationships that you have nurtured there. And I would bet the volunteers themselves have a enhanced feeling of
They're
good.
vested. They're invested in the program, in the families, in the center itself. There is something very special about that place that I have found nowhere else.
Well, I hope that and pray that will continue. But now, is there anything more you can tell us about the fundraising? Anything that we need to be aware of that I was going to ask you, I already did ask you about the fact that families out of diapers and daycare, they can't get it from places
That's right.
like
That's right.
WIC. So the only place they can get it is
Through
a baby
through
center.
us. We are the only diaper and wipe provider on the Cape and Islands. We happen to have some satellite sites. One of them is at Christ the King Church in Mashpee. Another one is at the Monomoy Community Center in Chatham. And there's another in Falmouth. And the times and the sites and addresses are on our website as well.
Those are places that mothers can, I mean, a father can go to.
Oh, yes. Yes. Anyone in crisis with a child between, 0, pregnant, to 3 years old.
And then what happens then?
The
baby is now 4.
There are other organizations that provide services for them, and we can help them because we do have resources collected of where to send them at that point. But our focus is on the child 0 to 3 years old.
But then you can work with other agencies and direct persons to the places they can tap for
Teamwork.
for assistance. Well, teamwork is so important part of the story. We're not all living in our own separate worlds, and I think that's so evident by what you have done at a baby center. Is there any other big special news that you'd like to share with our audience today of what's going on there at a baby center?
Well, I think some exciting news that is starting to come about is I have an advisory council that helps me to create programs or fundraising, and I have a new member coming on tomorrow, and his name is Dr. T. Barry Brazelton, and he is a very renowned pediatrician and was the guiding force for the book called Touch Points and the television show in the 90s called What Every Baby Knows.
And he is he's joining
He is.
the Council of Church or the
My
A Baby Center?
A Baby Center's Advisory Council. So he will help us and guide us when it comes to, I'm hoping to start some educational programming at a baby center on Monday evenings throughout the summer, and hopefully going forward after that. But with his guidance and support, I think we should have some special programming coming up.
Educational programs for mothers?
Mothers and families.
And families. And have you had that before, or is that a new endeavor?
They have had programming before, but this endeavor will be new and exciting.
Well, that sounds like you've got a lot of irons in the fire and a lot of avenues with which there is need and that you're going to try to meet. And I hope and pray you can continue to do it with a good vitality and a sense of hope and promise, because you're doing a lot of good work, and we need people, we need a community to get together and meet needs. And that's what, as I said, as I began our program today, that's what's called for. We're needing people to get together and share and be of service and love in action. Thank you, ladies, Robin and Sue, for your words today. I'd like to conclude with some that seem to fit very well into our subject today. This is from a little tiny book that I always carry with me called 5 Minutes for World Peace Forever. And in any peace that dwells in our heart, may any peace that dwells in our heart not be an easy peace that comes from not caring enough. May it rather be a peace that emerges from wrestling with the pain and darkness that is there. And I think that's so much a part of what the Baby Center does, wrestles with the pain and the darkness and the struggle that young families have. And this writer here, it is Ruth Fischel. She says this: we need to continue an ongoing journey of self-exploration and discovery to the tiniest detail, all that we can let go of to come to peace in our hearts. There can be no room for anger, resentments, or lack of forgiveness of ourselves or of other persons. It is in the willingness to undertake it, not the completion of this task, that makes peace possible. And peace is possible when we work together, trying to show that we do love and we share that love. She concludes with this word: today I continue to take personal inventory so that I may be aware of the changes that I must make so that my inner world will be a place of peace and serenity. We're talking about individuals, but we're talking about groups and people. Such happens when we put love into action. I hope and pray you can be a person that puts love into action, and the work of a Baby Center is one example of how love in action can meet needs that are truly there. Thank you for being with us today. I hope to see you again on Good Faith. Peace to you.